Did you have any thoughts or any idea that you actually may wind up producing her, or was that like
No.
the furthest thing from your mind?
Well, I have to say this backstory a little bit because it's just weird the way the world works. When I started incorporating the production, I remember telling my publishers at the time, Robert and Celia, that
Mm-hmm.
I would love to like produce the next Shania Twain. Like, and they thought it was odd that I would pick a female or whatever. But I love Shania.
Yeah.
I love Taylor Swift. That's something
Yep.
that it's something that I wouldn't tell all my friends at home, but I did.
Yeah.
That was just I love their albums. I love their records, and so from a long early time, I was studying that specifically the female country and what set them apart.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of how it started, and about whenever they signed her, and we started writing together. I think it just organically happened as far as like I produced a demo and she seemed to like it, but I never thought that I would
Yeah.
be producing a record for sure.
Right.
It was just I was just showing up doing what I did every day.
And
But-
inevitably, in Nashville, I mean, how many great producers are there in Nashville? I mean,
Yeah.
From Doug Johnson right here
Absolutely.
at Black River, and on and on and on. I mean,
Absolutely.
to the Dan Huffs and everybody else.
Yeah.
And I understand that there were, that was a big consideration.
Yeah,
because,
I'm sure there
because
was.
this was their golden girl.
Yeah.
Who they
Yeah,
were about
there's
to
a lot
launch.
riding on that. It's a
lot
new
riding
artist,
on it.
and so for them to be able to be up for it was crazy in itself. But
Mhm.
and a lot of the influence came from her
Yeah.
to allow me to have that position. So I'm grateful
Yeah,
for that.
you mentioned to me that she really went to bat for you on that.
Without her, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Wow.
So
That's
it's
incredible.
it's
Incredible loyalty.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm sure other producers were considered. And let's just acknowledge that a normal, younger female artist that comes to town that wants that opportunity, they'll be willing to do whatever. Put me with whatever producer, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Like I want to sing. Get me in there to
Sure.
sing. Let's make a record. But for her to have the consistency and to believe that I was the right man for the job,
Yeah.
that shows a lot about her.
It sure does. Yeah,
So.
absolutely. When you found out that you got the gig, okay, producing Kelsey, was that immediate, was that a feeling of relief or pressure?
It wasn't necessarily relief because it was a surprise. Whenever that I was considered to produce the actual record, so it was like.
So that was a complete surprise.
It was. I feel like
you never thought in a million years that would happen.
I wanted it to happen,
Yeah.
but I didn't think that.
It would.
I mean,
I
did,
understand.
but it's like
Yeah.
it would be so crazy for that to actually happen. So literally, it was a freak out process, early on, and just really trying to learn. All right, it's go time. I gotta figure this out.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
It's very reminiscent of, Nathan Chapman when he was on the
Sure.
show a couple of years ago. And as a lot of you may know, that same thing happened with Nathan Chapman, with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
They looked at a lot of other producers. A lot of other producers submitted demos and so on that they did, with Taylor. And Taylor went, no, Nathan's the guy, man.
She did.
He's the guy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's wonderful. When you found out that you were going to be producing, the thing that I find so interesting and so mature on your part was you went, we got to get Jason Massey in on this to co-produce. Because you had a vision.
Yeah.
You had a sound.
Sure.
For and you and Kelsey had been working together for a couple of years, and you really had it down. And tell us what Jason Massey brought
Well,
to the table.
It's like yin and yang
Yeah.
as far as what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It's different, but where it meets in the middle is something special. As far as he does a lot of percussive drum things and more the pop elements that make it really thematic as far as whenever you listen to a track that I haven't quite figured out yet. Where I play guitar in a certain way that is different than him. So it's the collaboration that always excited me as far as visualizing what that sonically could potentially be like for Kelsey's record. Because, I mean, the thought was, I just want this thing to rock a stadium with just hooky songs, and just to sound huge. And that was the, intention of the first record.
Yeah.
And I knew that just the way he produced and making every chorus stand out. And also, he's not necessarily, the most flashy player. It's very simplistic what he does. But I feel like that's important for Kelsey's music because, it's the most simplest hooky parts that, are
Like
on that
less
record.
is more,
Anybody playing guitar for 3 months can play her record.
Yeah.
But it's I feel like that's what makes it, what it is.
Yeah.
It's just, very few chords and simple licks, and I feel like that's kind of what makes it stand out in a sense of here in Nashville, where you have all the best players in the world playing on records all the time, and they're great, and I use those players all the time. But sometimes it's nice to, be able to come up with a 3-part lick that's just stupidly simple.
Yeah, 3 chords and the truth.
Yeah, man. Sure.
You talk about all the great players in Nashville, all of the great writers in Nashville, right? And I know that, like we said earlier, Kelsey was the golden girl. She was the one that Black River kind of chose to really launch the label.
Right.
And you got 6 songs on that first project. I mean, that is amazing because, and as well as I do, that the best song wins.
Right.
That's, Doug Johnson has said that on this show, I don't know how many times, and so has every other producer. The best song wins. It doesn't matter who writes it.
Sure.
I think it's just incredible that you pretty much co-wrote half the album. Well,
and that is true, the best song wins. But I will say, from a producer standpoint, there could be a lot of great songs to be considered, but is it the great song? Is that a great song for this record? As far as, does it expose a part of the artist that we want to reveal for this record, or like sonically, what does it sound like? What does it talk about? Is it true to that artist?
The album, the first time, was so aptly titled.
Yeah.
The first time for you, the first time for Black River, the first time for Kelsey, the first time for Jason, it was a first in so many ways, and I thought it was tremendously apt. The first single, of course, Love Me Like You Mean It, absolutely skyrocketed to #1.
Yeah. And I would even play that song. I pitched that song around town, and people didn't get it. They would say, "Oh, I don't see who would."
Yeah.
And I'm grateful they did.
Yeah. Absolutely.